What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of 360 Sports. We got a basketball edition today. It's myself, Jacob, Cadyn, Ethan, and Fernando. A lot of NBA talk going around. It's freezing outside. It's snowing. It's snowing a lot outside. My friend from Texas, how do you feel
I'm not used to this, man. I looked out the window and I was flabbergasted. I've never seen so much snow in my life.
Flabbergasted, to say the least.
Yeah, it was not on my bingo card today.
Yeah.
No way. And you know what else wasn't on my bingo card? De'Aaron Fox is being shipped around the league. Can't believe this. De'Aaron Fox has been made available for trade from the front office. And apparently, he's got a landing spot, and it's going to be right next to Wemby with the Spurs. Do you guys think this trade is actually attainable for the Spurs? Do you think this is something that will help them out in the future?
I just think that the Spurs don't have enough pieces to go get De'Aaron Fox. I read that the Kings want win-now players to make that trade, and I just don't see the Spurs having those players on their roster to make that trade happen. So for that reason, I do think contending teams like the Bucks, the Rockets, and the Heat could go get them. The Bucks, they desperately need to make a trade because right now the experiment with Damian Lillard and Giannis is not working out. The team they have right now is not championship contending. So they need to go get a guy like De'Aaron Fox too, who's young and who's very energized to go to contend for a championship. The other one I have is the Rockets, because the Rockets have been very surprising this year.
They have a lot of pieces.
They have young pieces. You can go trade some young core for a veteran player like De'Aaron Fox, and if you go and you have veterans like Ben VanVleet, and you have a great head coach. So if the Rockets go get De'Aaron Fox, you can say that they're contenders. And for the Heat, I mean, we all know the Jimmy Butler story, and we're going to get to it. But for both sides, this makes sense. I said the Kings want win-now players. Jimmy Butler is one of those players. So you got to go get that guy. It makes sense for both sides, in my honest opinion.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that the Spurs, De'Aaron Fox for the Spurs is an easy take because get Wemby, this elite facilitating one, he's going to go crazy. And I think that the Spurs just need to be patient. I know as fans we want an instant product, we want instant gratification, but they have Vassell, they have Stephon Castle that they drafted. These are young guys, young guards that need to play, need to kind of feel it out. They're very young. So, I agree with you when you say that they don't have enough. The Kings are not going to take developmental guards, in their rookie, sophomore year. They need win-now pieces, and I just don't think logistically that trade will work. And personally, I need to see De'Aaron Fox go help my guy Kawhi Leonard out in Los Angeles. I think that's as perfect as a fit gets. Do the Clippers have enough pieces to get it done? I don't know, but I would love to see De'Aaron Fox go help Kawhi.
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical on the be patient for the Spurs part because I feel like you got Wemby right now in year 2.
He's still a young dog.
He's young, his whole career. Also understand, they're making a lot of improvement to last year. It's just Chris Paul and right now Wemby as the stars, and you're making a lot of improvement. In fact, they're in playing contention right now. So if you make it into the play-in, that's already a success. So the future is very bright. So don't waste that future.
I see what you're saying, but I feel like when you have a guy like Wemby, you don't want him running around year 2. Look what LeBron did in the Cavs. He was that good of a player, they couldn't surround him with nothing.
That's kind of an extreme example.
Yeah,
they're not going to do that to
Wemby.
Wemby is not LeBron.
Stephon Castle, he's a great player, right?
Yeah.
He's not your number 2 guy on this team. Chris Paul is, 38 years old? He's not going to be there for longer. Yeah. I think it makes sense for them to go get a guy. They're not going to win this year with De'Aaron Fox, but I think it makes sense to get a young, explosive guard to pair next to Wemby so they build that chemistry and they can create the pieces around them to become that contender.
But Fox's contract runs out after this season. Why would you go trade some of your young guys just when you could maybe pick them up next season anyway? Yeah. It just doesn't make sense for the Spurs to trade for him right now when they could maybe keep all of what they have or most of what they have and just get him next season.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Spurs aren't one De'Aaron Fox type player away from suddenly being a contender. They still got to develop some more guys, maybe go get another guy out of free agency. But they're just not ready for a trade like that yet. Wait for Fox to get off his contract, go sign him, or maybe another team will, who knows.
And also, the more the Spurs improve, the more free agents are going to be attracted to go to the Spurs. So don't rush it right now. Just take your time and then see how the season plays out, and then go get a star like De'Aaron Fox.
Wemby makes it a desirable destination. San Antonio's not a big market, but Wemby definitely helps with that.
Yeah. Moving on, you mentioned it before, we got another star trying to be on the move. Jimmy Butler. This is the craziest drama I've ever seen. I swear at the beginning of this year, he was happy as could be in Miami. Him and Tyler Herro look like best friends, but I guess not. Jimmy Butler wants out. Pat Riley said no, and now they've been going back and forth. He's been suspended a few times.
So childish.
Right now, I think they say he's suspended indefinitely. Do you guys think he's going to get traded? Do you think Pat Riley's going to be stubborn and just make him sit? What do you think?
He kind of has to trade him at this point. I don't, like, it doesn't work for either party, though. I don't think Butler's going to get what he wants, or what he truly wants, at least. Obviously, the Heat is it's screwing their whole season up right now, because they could still be contenders if they had a Jimmy Butler-type player playing. But no, Hero's got to take on everything right now. There's just so much drama. I don't think anybody wins, but he is going to get what he wants, probably.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's ridiculous, like Jimmy Butler wanting a trade. Like, you're in a contending team. Like, all you have to do is pretty much go to Pat Riley and ask for a trade to get one player to, like, make you a championship contender team, and you're just not doing it. Also, like, you have a great head coach. You have Bam Adebayo, you have Tyler Herro, you have great players. Like, it's so childish, to be honest with you. And also, it makes me think that I feel bad for Wiggins and Towns, because we were making fun of them for for being on the Wolves and like that stuff. So like now we owe him an apology for.
Yeah, it definitely seems that drama likes to follow Jimmy Butler, or maybe just the spotlight rather. This is the same guy that wore the emo hairdo to his media pics. He is too unserious. He's too unserious to punish, quite frankly. I guarantee you Jimmy does not care about what the Heat are doing to him. He wants out. I think he's going to go somewhere. I don't know where yet, but I think he's gone. I don't think there's any way to make amends.
Yeah. For me, the question will be how much are teams willing to give up to go get him? Because we already know the history with him. He's that good of a player, but he has so much drama around him.
I just want to see Jimmy as the two, as the second option.
Yeah.
He's been on these Heat teams, carrying the load in the playoffs. Just like we all know the meme of him exhausted in the finals.
Yeah,
like
the 2020.
Jimmy as the two with a player like Curry or one of these elite guys. It's going to be hard to pull it off. But
The thing about Jimmy at the two, though, I don't think he wants to be the two. I think he wants to be the number one guy.
Yeah.
And he does that, and they don't give him full control of the team. He's going to have another fit.
But Jimmy, I'm talking to you right now. Would you rather win, or would you rather be the number one? Because you probably can't have both at this point in your career. So if you want a ring, you might have to be the two. And that might be good for you. So if you can hear me, Jimmy Butler, I know you're watching 360. Why wouldn't you be?
Yeah, in fact, he's been to the finals 2 times. He couldn't get it done. So, like, at this role, you have to settle down and
be the two.
And be the two.
See
exactly.
what happens.
But is a guy that's being this childish about a trade really willing to be the two? I mean,
he's been on loaded teams, though.
But I mean,
this is nothing new.
But I mean, like, if
he always hated them. He always wanted out. He always wanted to be the number one guy.
But you can't have it both ways.
But I mean, if he wouldn't be asking for a trade if he doesn't want a ring, because let's be honest, he's the number one guy on the Heat, and he would be like he's still technically on a championship contending team. So like he wouldn't be this childish if he didn't know he wanted a ring.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
I do think a potential team would be the Suns, because Beal wants out, he wants out. Maybe they work something out between the two of them.
I think that's where, if he does get traded, that's where he's going to go. It's just I'm going to hate that, because it's just going to be another like Nets like. Oh, look at this crazy super team we had just to lose in the conference finals. Like, it's not going to work out if he goes there.
3 superstar teams, they don't work out in this league.
No. The only one that worked is the Warriors, and that's because half of those players were
starting five was
Exactly. And they didn't just go out and trade for everyone and ruin their bench. They actually developed their players. Like, it does not work just trading for 3 superstars like this.
Yeah. I do want to talk about the All-Star game, because it is way different this year. So these are our All-Star starters. Obviously, 2 Knicks in there. Everyone's got to be happy about that. Love it. The Western Conference side, we got LeBron, Steph, and KD. I want to start off there. Do you guys think the 3 of them deserved these starting spots?
I do not think Stephen Curry should be starting over Anthony Edwards, and I will say that if Luka was healthy, he wouldn't be starting over Luka. This would have been the 2nd year in a row Curry was coming off the All-Star bench, which I think is kind of a sign, because prior to last season, he hadn't done that in 10 years. So I guess they wanted like a true point. I don't really know how the committee works. I'm not a huge fan of the All-Star game, but I think Anthony Edwards deserves to be up there.
I do agree with you. I think if Luka was healthy, I think he would take Steph Curry's spot.
100%.
But the one complaint I have is Kevin Durant being a starter. I think it should have been Wemby, to be honest with you. He led the Spurs in points, rebounds, and blocks. He averages a double-double. You know how good the Spurs have
Yep.
overachieved this season with him. He's played more games than Kevin Durant. So, like, to me, I just feel like Wemby deserved it over Kevin Durant.
I agree. Like, Wemby definitely should have been starting. Even maybe, like, Anthony Davis over LeBron, maybe. Like, it's a little tough, but,
Yeah.
like, I just don't. Does LeBron really still deserve to be an all-star starter?
You know
Like,
they're not
yeah.
going to do that.
I know.
They're
And,
not
and
gonna
half
do
of it's
that.
based on fans.
But let's be
yeah.
honest. What he's doing at 40 years old is very, very impressive.
it's
No
crazy.
doubt, no doubt.
But, like, you can't act like everybody's 40 in the league. Like,
Yeah.
you can't just say that. Like, it's still based on how the other players are doing. And
Yeah, I think with KD, Curry, and LeBron, as long as they're in the league, I think they're going to be a starter.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even take that
100%.
from them.
Yeah.
But with the All-Star format, so they're changing it up this year. It's going to be 4 teams of 8, and they play each other tournament style. So it's Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, Team 4. Team 4 is the rising All-Star, the winner of that game. They play whichever All-Star team comes out. So it's 3 drafts between, I think, Chuck, Charles Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny.
Oh, I love that.
I think that's how it's going right now. I think it could be interesting. Might as well try something new out. The
I
All-Star game
agree.
has been working
I think
recently.
it's been stale, so I'm all for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to try stuff. Obviously, the
Yeah.
All-Star game has been crap
Yeah, it's
for
been
years.
boring
Yeah.
to watch.
Just don't do what the Pro Bowl did. That's
yeah.
all I
Yeah, the
ask.
Pro Bowl, nobody watches that.
Yeah, they're putting some money on the line too this time. The winners are going to get paid. I'm not sure how
Okay.
much, but
Okay,
I know they
like
are getting
that.
paid. So
Money
maybe,
talks.
maybe this year we're going to get a competitive game since we haven't got one since when? Since 2020?
I think
even
2019,
knows, dude.
Yeah, it's
when
been
it was
a-
LeBron and KD
Yeah,
going
yeah,
for the charity.
It's been a long time. But anyways, with the trade deadline coming up, we talked about Fox, we talked about Jimmy Butler. Now I want you guys to tell me, what do you see as a dream trade happening in the league? Somewhere you want to see someone go, or a team you want to be aggressive and go out there? Cadyn, let's start off with you.
Awesome. All right. So, my trade, it's not a blockbuster trade by any means. Something simple, but I have the Mavericks acquiring Mr. Nicholas Claxton from the Nets. Their young rookie center, Derek Lively, is going to be in the league for 12 years. He's a dog, but messed up his foot, so he's out for about 3 months. Luka's out as well. So what we really need is some depth at the 5. Maxi Kleber is out as well. Right now it's just Daniel Gafford and some G League guys holding down the fort. So the money's a little complicated. Claxton makes a lot of money, and you know, he's having a little bit of a down year, so I think maybe the Mavericks can kind of use that to their benefit in negotiations. But yeah, I think this is the perfect fit for the Mavericks. They love these big, tall guys with good hands on both ends of the floor. Plays defense, gets rebounds, can be used in the pick and roll, especially when Luka gets back. So will it happen? Probably not, but I really hope it does because the Mavericks can save their season. I believe it.
I like it. I mean, we saw in the NBA Finals how the Celtics were being, how undermanned the Mavericks were in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
So like they do need to get big if they want to beat the Celtics this time around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a glass cleaner helps them out there because you need someone. I mean, you got Luka and Kyrie taking all these shots. Someone's got to get
Yeah.
down there and get those boards.
Especially in the West.
Yeah.
Gotta have some
it's
big guys.
competitive
Someone
West.
like that. Especially when you got to play Jokic at some point, you need someone down there.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
My trade is blockbuster. People are going to be shocked.
Blockbuster trade income.
All right,
Let's
I
see
got
it.
Jimmy
Play the
Butler
ball.
going to the Golden State Warriors. Look, you have the greatest shooter to ever live in Steph Curry. You still have Draymond Green, and they're in their last years of championship contending. So if you got to maximize that window. Right now, they don't have the roster to win. And bringing in a guy like Jimmy Butler, that changes everything. You know who Jimmy Butler is. He's an all-star. He led the Heat to 2 NBA Finals. He's great. He is such a great shooter. And you know what? That's what Curry needs. He needs a number 2 option who can pick up the slack for him. Because, you know, Curry can't do everything. So I think Jimmy Butler is the guy who can help him out, pick up the slack. And I think if the Warriors get him, we can have serious conversations about Warriors possibly winning a championship again.
I like that a lot. I think that the fit is undeniable there. Obviously, both of them have to stay healthy. But, you know, teams love to send those on-ball blitzes at Curry when he gets hot. So to me, that's a perfect opportunity for Jimmy Butler to play in that low post, that mid-range area that he loves so much, get one-on-one opportunities against not the primary defender. I think that's a match made in heaven, quite frankly.
And also, like, the Warriors don't have a number 2 option, and they desperately need that.
Like,
Yeah.
just talking about the big 3 that Jimmy said he wants to go to, being the Suns, Warriors, and Sixers. Warriors is the best fit, and that's a fit that actually makes sense. Like, and if they get him, they could 100% go back to being contenders again. I don't think they are yet, but if they do manage to trade for Jimmy, I think they will be.
What do we think that consists of on the Warriors end?
Well,
Kuminga?
let's see. Like,
Maybe pause.
Like, let's see. The Heat are desperate to get rid of him. So at this rate, the Sixers, the Heat are just want anything to get rid of him. So like now you're at the point where you can trade a little, not much more. You can trade a little bit to just go get him because the Heat are just desperate to get him out.
I think it's very fitting that we put this in a mock dream trade just because of the fact that the Warriors just won't trade for anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like Curry's needed a second guy for a while. They've had a lot of opportunities to get these guys, and they haven't won out and got them. They haven't been aggressive enough. Ethan, what do you got for us?
All right. My trade is honestly completely unrealistic. I don't even think it's possible right now.
Let him cook.
right,
we said dream trade. I'm a Sixers fan. I want to get rid of Joel Embiid. He's making me angry.
This is sick.
Get him out. I picked the Mavericks just because I'm thinking of a team like, who can we get in return? I'm thinking Jared Jackson Jr. He would be great on the Sixers, former Depoy. I also put Marcus Smart. Get some defense on the Sixers, too. That's kind of what they're missing right now. Obviously, they have a lot of injuries. And also, they have some draft capital. Throw like 2, 3, 4 first-round picks in there. Get the Sixers some capital. By getting rid of Embiid, I want the Sixers to stay a contender, but not just completely, I still want to be set for the future. And I think that that Memphis has the best fit for that. And obviously, it's not possible. I don't even think we can trade Embiid after we just signed him. It's not going to happen, but, a man can dream.
I understand your frustration. I just read a stat that he's missed 47% of his of career games.
Last night was his 400th missed game. Sorry.
Yeah, that's insane.
From a Sixers fan perspective, I understand that. But if I'm the Grizzlies, do I do that?
I don't know.
At this point in my timeline?
I don't think anyone is.
Jaren Jackson Jr. is a very good player.
Very good ball player.
So, and then putting Marcus Smart along with him.
And then also you're risking you're waging a lot on an injury-prone guy. Do you really want to do that?
I think probably the Sixers would give a little bit more.
Yeah,
if it
I would say the Sixers.
I don't think that's
have to give
hyper
someone-
unrealistic though.
It's not unrealistic, but it's also the Grizzlies probably wouldn't do that.
I feel like it's just too big of a trade.
And then
it's-
let's not forget his contract. You're taking on his contract.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And they have Zach Edey.
Zach Edey.
Zach Edey.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
I'm a big fan of his game, actually. I like Zach Edey a lot.
He's played pretty well,
I was very
hasn't he?
hot on him coming out, but...
Who just packed on him the other night? I saw that on Instagram. He got dunked on.
All right, moving on. Mine's not a flashy one, but I think it's one that is very necessary.
Ooh.
Cam Johnson to the Bucks. The Bucks are one of these teams that they're saying they want to go out and get a superstar to put next to Giannis and Dame. I don't think that's necessary. It hasn't worked out for a lot of teams. I think they need to go and get this role player. Cam Johnson is a great ball player. He shoots the ball 40%. He's a good defender. He's becoming better off ball, and he's learning how to really create a shot for himself now. I think if you put him in between Giannis and Lillard, separates them a little bit. Giannis is driving in instead of just having Lillard to kick it out to. You got Cam Johnson. He's a very good player, and I also think they're in a win now window right now. So they got to be aggressive. They got to find pieces to win right now. Because how many years do you have left in Giannis and Dame? Eventually, one of them are going to be upset that they're not winning. And in a stacked East like this, I think you got to get a guy who could give you a better matchup against the Celtics. So I think Cam Johnson to the Bucks makes a lot of sense to me. I would be shocked if Cam Johnson was still in that by the end of the deadline.
I like it.
That's
I really
interesting.
like that. I mean, I think the Bucks are obviously they're contenders, but they're also that one role player away from being that dominant contender.
Yeah.
Because obviously we saw last year, Giannis and Dame played well, but not incredible.
Yeah.
And getting that one guy, I think, would really help them.
Also, you have the trading chip of Chris Middleton.
I was just about to bring that
So,
up. What does that do
you
with
have that
Chris
leverage
Middleton?
with Chris
Yeah.
Middleton, so you can use him to go get a role player like Cam Johnson.
Yeah,
I agree.
I forgot to mention that, but I feel like Chris Middleton, he cannot be that third option anymore.
Yeah.
I think he's past that. I think they need to get that third option. That's why I think Cam
I think
Johnson
going
fits his
from
role.
Chris Middleton to Cam Johnson could definitely help them out.
Yeah.
One
I
way or
like
the
it.
other.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We got contenders or pretenders. We're going to look at 3 teams. I want you guys to tell me if you think they're legit or not.
right.
Starting off, we got the Cavs. First in the East right now, a very impressive record. Great resume on the season. They're beating a lot of good teams. Cadyn, what do you think?
I mean, you can't say pretender. You got to go contender. They're number one for a reason. They have so many pieces that are just hooping out there. They all complement each other. You have the two bigs in Mobley and Jarrett Allen. You have the two guards, Garland and Donovan Mitchell. You have some guys like Okoro, Struce, some guys that are just coming off the bench, giving you some buckets. It's just a very authentically well-crafted basketball team.
Completely agree.
I completely agree.
I think a deep playoff run has to be in their future.
I don't think you can look at a team right now that still has less than 10 losses and say they're a pretender at this point.
That's not. Yeah,
also, they have a deep bench with Karis LeVert. They have Ty Jerome. They have George Niang, Isaac Okoro. Like, they have a deep team. So, like you said, like they have less than 10 losses, and we're gonna say that they're pretenders. You can't say that.
Is this the best threat to the Celtics in the NBA right now? Do we
I say yes.
Yeah.
I say yes.
Not just in the East, but in the NBA. I would say yes.
I would say yes, and then the
think
Thunder.
so.
Who do you think? Knicks?
I honestly,
You want to say it, boy. Just say it.
I do think the Knicks can't compete with this team.
I don't disagree.
Because of the fact that Cat is down low. I think that changes the entire game.
That's fair.
That's fair
You
enough.
can't say that the Thunder match up better. I honestly agree with that. I think the Thunder pose a bigger threat to the Celtics.
There's
But
some
the
really
East
good
side,
basketball
I think the
teams
Knicks
this year, man.
pose the biggest threat. But I'm not gonna lie, the Cavs, they look really sharp this year.
Yep.
I will say the only thing that's a little shaky for me looking at this team in the playoffs is Darius Garland. Sometimes he just doesn't show up flat out. So he has games where he just shoots horribly. And I hope for them and for all the Cleveland fans' sakes that Darius Garland actually performs in the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Because where teams are focused on. It's Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
So Garland needs to pick that up.
Evan Mobley's taking that next
That's why I'm
step.
saying, like, the second option is so important.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We got the Grizzlies. I'm a very big fan of the Grizzlies. I love the team they've built. I think John and Desmond Bane are awesome guards.
Yeah.
I think they went out and Jaren Jackson, Zach Edey are an awesome front court. I think I'm pretty impressed with them. I don't know how deep they can go, but I'm gonna say they're contenders just because I think Ja can will them far.
I don't think that the Memphis Grizzlies are championship contenders. I think that they can, compete with teams in the West, but I don't think they are contending for a championship
I say they're pretenders too. I just don't see them having enough pieces to be a championship contender. team.
Yeah, like the other teams that are below them, they're doing better right now, but those other teams can beat them in a 7-game series.
They're teams
They
that know
could contend, but
Yeah, I think I'm a little biased. I'm a big Ja Morant fan. So
I like Ja.
I'm gonna say they're contenders just because I saw him do it in the playoffs one time. He's killing teams out there, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not too sure about them. Little skeptical. Moving on, we got the Houston Rockets.
Pretenders. I
don't know about that one.
like I said, they just need one. I feel like they're one trade away from being a championship contending team. They're too young, to be honest, and they don't have any playoff experience. So I just think it's too much.
Yeah.
I want to say contenders,
So
but
bad. Yeah.
I want to so bad, but I think I have to agree. I think they're pretenders right now.
Yeah. In the context of a 7-game series, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think they're extremely talented. I think they just lack the playoff experience.
Yeah.
Everyone's really young on that team.
Yeah.
I think this year is going to be like a learning moment, where if they lose, next year is the championship window year for them.
Just like the Thunder.
Yeah, just like the Thunder, yeah. All right, moving on. We're going to end the show highlighting some guys who we think have played absolutely awesome this year. Maybe our Most Improved Player Award winner, maybe in our opinions. We're going to start off with Cadyn.
So my guy doesn't really fit the mold for most improved, but I picked LaMelo for just 28 points per game in today's game is not easy. It's really not. And a big dent on his game, his young career, is the games played. Last time he played over 40 games was 2022. So he's at 31 so far. He's healthy. He's hooping. He's shooting well from 3. He's taking a ton of shots, so that definitely helps. For context, Jokic takes 20 a game. SGA takes 21, and with Brandon Miller out, his second option, LaMelo is taking roughly 24 shots a game. So that's up there, upper echelon. But I just want to stay healthy, keep scoring.
Yeah.
No expectations with a team like the Hornets, not this year.
Yeah.
Just stay healthy, prove to us who you are, and I think that, he's on the uptick, and that's all you can ask for in a young player.
I like it.
Really, I am not the biggest LaMelo fan, but this year I have to admit he has been hooping.
He's hooping.
And
I think he should be an all-star, to be honest with you.
100%.
I could definitely see him in an all-star, him or Trey. Fernando, what do you got?
I said Norman Powell. I mean, I've been watching this guy since he got traded from the Raptors to the Clippers, and he was a starter when he got traded, and he had to settle down to the role of being a bench player, and now he had the opportunity to start again once with Kawhi Leonard being injured, and he has stepped up big time for this team. Because let's be honest, with the Paul George going to the Sixers, we didn't have many expectations on the team. Especially we knew Kawhi Leonard being out for a long time, and he has stepped up. He's averaging 23 points per game. He has, like I said, he's helped the Clippers overachieve this season. And for him to make that huge of an improvement, to be that second scoring option along Harden, and if he could do it with Kawhi Leonard and James Harden, the Clippers are a dangerous team.
Yeah.
I think I looked before this. He increased, I think, about 10 points per game from last season, and he was coming off the bench last season too. So he's doing really well.
Could definitely see him as an all-star. Ethan, what do you got for us?
I got Cade Cunningham from the Pistons. Yep. Now, if we're looking at purely most improved player, he is leading the betting odds right now. His stats don't really look like that, but just watching the Pistons, you can tell he is such a better player, better passer, defender, scorer. He's lifting all of his other teammates up. They finally built a little bit around him, enough for him to succeed. Not that team record really goes with that, but 14 wins last season. They're now 23 for 23, not 23 and 23. Sorry.
Yeah.
Already succeeding last year's total by around 10 wins. That's just crazy. I still had not many expectations for the Pistons this season, but he has really improved, and he's bringing the rest of the team with him, and they're looking really good right now.
It's always just so good for a sport for those lesser teams to just grow. That's all you just you don't want to be the Browns. No shade to the Browns. It's year in, year out, just bad, horrible, awful, terrible. But I'm glad to see a young buck bringing his team up with him.
I couldn't agree with you more, Cadyn. I mean, in the NBA, all we talk about are the big market teams like the Lakers, the Celtics. It's
the same with baseball.
The Knicks. It's always the big market teams. And to see a team like the Detroit Pistons, who are a very small market team, go from a 14-win team to now being 20-23 with halfway through the season, that is very impressive. And to see, and now Cade's also proving why he was a #1 pick.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people last year almost gave up on him because they haven't seen that improvement, but now he's finally showing what he can do in the NBA.
Yeah, I think they're almost a play-in team right now, or they might be in the play-in.
They're in the play-in, I think.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Or no, not barely.
My last pick, he's not my most improved player award pick, but I think he's the most improved player in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
I think Amen Thompson has taken absolute strides this year. Okay, so going into the last draft, I was a scoot over Wemby kind of guy. That was me. I was saying that. But I did right my wrongs on Amen Thompson because he is that good right now. The stats aren't that crazy, but the leaps he's taken as an all-around player are pretty incredible. His handles were insanely tight for a guy of his size coming into the league. I thought he's improved off that. Athleticism, absolutely, we all saw that coming. But now he's turned himself into a really good rebounder, really good off-ball player. I'm talking about a Caruso kind of player. And the only thing I think needs a little bit more work could be his three-point shooting. But, yeah, he's a terror on defense, absolutely terrorizing anyone that's on him. I saw him do it to Trae Young a few nights ago. I think he's really brought himself up in this league and made himself into a really good player.
Yeah, I think in a league with, the Lukas and the SGAs and these big-time scorers, I love to see guys that just haven't, maybe they're not the best. They don't create, their own shot, but they're aggressive. They play good defense. They just play hard. I love to see that.
Yeah, and didn't he score the game winner against the Celtics?
Dropped the game winner.
Yeah,
awesome.
to do that is very impressive, and also he's young. He's gonna keep getting better.
Yep.
And players doing things like he's doing right now in the Rockets are why they're so high up in the standings.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love them. I love all these picks. Awesome picks, guys. But as always, that's all we got for today. Stay tuned. Tomorrow we have another episode. Basketball next week. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.